It's a great day today. Big news, Jonathan Petrie's treatments are working well, so I'd like to say hi to Jonathan, and what a great fight you're having, and we're thinking about you.
We'll start with Gordon, the back left.
Coach, any changes to your lineup here tonight? What can you tell us about some of the injured players?
The only thing is Stahlberg is a game-time decision, so we're that close, yeah.
Is it an easy decision on who comes out, or
No.
will that be? No. Okay.
Never is. Never is, so I guess we'll take the next hours to figure that out, but maybe we won't have to, we'll see. But he's getting really close.
You've always maintained that home ice is the same as road ice, playing on the road. How much of an advantage is having that last change on home ice against a team like Pittsburgh?
You know, you can see it as an advantage. Certainly isn't a disadvantage, but, you know, like I said, you know, in terms of matchups, I think all our players have to be able to play against all their players. They got too many good players, and all their lines are good, and it's the same as series against the Rangers. So I don't think it's a big matchup series. It's a lot more of a depth series where both teams are doing well with their depth and all have an impact, and we're asking all our players to be able to play against anybody.
Ian, to your left, Coach.
Coach, Pierre Dorion was named a finalist
Yeah.
as one of the three general managers for the annual award for GM of the Year. Just from your vantage point, what impact did Pierre Dorion have on your team's success this year?
I mean, for me, he's done a terrific job right from the get-go. You know, great decisions in the summer. You know, it's easy to say, okay, we'd love to do this, we'd love to add that, but to actually be able to do it, you know, I've seen how hard it is in the NHL. You know, out of 100 things that you'd like to do, if you're lucky, you might be able to get to do one or two, because it's tough to make trades. It's tough to go get players and sign, and so Pierre's able to do quite a bit starting last summer and during the season. And you know, when you're a coach, you always have a shopping list, and it's very difficult for the GM to be able to fulfill that. And basically everything I asked, I got. So it doesn't happen very often. So I was really lucky, and I think Pierre's. I think his eye for talent has always been renowned, and you know, that's mainly why he's where he is right now. And so, you know, when he's looking at players from other teams, and he's able to come back with you know, a clear picture of what players are, it's a lot easier for me after to you know, with him decide in a tandem and go with what we can get. And so we were able to do that this year. I mean, we've been on a together. For me, it's been a terrific year because we're really on the same page, and we've had a terrific relationship. And he probably has the number one. I find the number one criteria for a good GM. He lets me coach, and we trust each other. So I trust him with player personality, and trust me with the coaching. And it's easy to say, it's very hard to do. And I thought he was phenomenal.
Dan, the back right, Coach.
Guy, could you talk a little bit about what happened in the last two periods of the last game in Pittsburgh? I mean, first period was pretty back and forth, but second and third, Pittsburgh in your end a whole lot, constant pressure. What do you guys have to do tonight to counter that?
I would disagree with your assessment there. It was the third period. It wasn't the second period. It was the third period. So we had two good first periods, and the third period is exactly what I said after the game. And sometimes I'm wrong. You watch a video, and but it was what we saw. We gave them the puck on our breakouts. A lot of pucks thrown. Where we could have managed it very well, like we did in the first period. And in the third period, we just threw pucks away. And when you throw pucks away against a good team like that, they're going to take over in your zone, then you're running around after that. I mean, it's hard enough to defend against those guys, and when you get that puck back, to actually give it back to them, you know, twice on the same shift in your zone, you're asking for trouble, and that's exactly what happened in the third period. So, and plus we didn't in the offensive zone. We had enough zone entries, but with our zone entries, we stayed on the perimeter, and that's never been a good way to play against anybody. And so we didn't generate enough inside those face-off dots. We didn't pay the price enough in there, and we know that. So we can do better there for sure.
Yeah, Guy, you talked a lot about, you know, bringing in experienced players in the playoffs and how the value they've had. As a coach who's been to the final before, you're here again. Like, things change with you, having had that experience. situations, managing it? You've been able to learn from that yourself this time around?
Yeah, Mark's been there too. Yeah, and all my assistants have been there actually. Cookie's been in the finals also, and Marty's was with me in Tampa and conference finals. So we, our staff has quite a bit of experience, and that's what I wanted to start the year. And throughout the year, we saw that a lot of stuff that we knew how to manage better than the first times around. You were able to prevent a lot of the stuff. You know what's coming. So coming into this round, it's not the same players, it's not the same circumstances, but there's a lot of the things that are similar in terms of managing rest and knowing that it's a round that's really is tougher than the previous ones. Not because of the opponent necessarily, just because of the fact that the season is long. The first series is usually a lot of adrenaline and guys are fresher, and then the second series you could see in the middle of the series usually you start to see guys wear down. The third series is all about mental and physical and emotional toughness, and it's a difficult round. So yeah, it's a lot about managing rest, a lot about managing emotions and other things that we won't get into. But yeah, I mean, once you've done it, definitely there's things you see differently and that you manage differently.
Guy, Eric gets a lot of attention regardless of the opponent that you're facing, but what, if anything, are you seeing that Pittsburgh is trying to do to slow him down a little bit?
The same as the other teams, nothing different. I mean, I think you forecheck him when you can, and when he's got the puck, you try to take the puck off of him. I don't think there's anybody following him everywhere around the ice, because that actually would be great, because they'd be missing one guy back there. So I don't think they're doing anything different than the other teams in terms of playing against Eric. Eric has managed the first two rounds just like he's managing this round, and it's a great team we're playing. So I think they're going hard. They're difficult to get through, and they've got a lot of speed and a lot of skill. So I think it's more of two teams that are going at each other. It's certainly not one individual against another individual. We never approach it that way, and we don't see it this way. And I think Eric will be the first guy to tell you that.
Coach, you talked about how much of a grind this third round is. Does that make home ice advantage, the crowd, the energy in the building that much more important?
Well, I think being at home or being on the road doesn't change your X's and O's and your game plan. But in terms of energy, of course, when you do something well and your crowd is into it, it enhances what you're doing. Sometimes makes it look better than it is, and we've seen it on the road. Sometimes we talk about it. Sometimes the opposing crowd is really loud in moments where it really doesn't. It's a far shot and there's not much happening, and it seems worse. And then momentum seems worse against you because of that. But really, if you'd be home, it's your crowd, and then the same momentum that the other team is slowly gaining doesn't seem as big, and but then you get the opposite. It's the same at home. When you do something well, it's like anybody in life. You do something well, you get a pat in the back. You want to do more, you want to do better, and I think that's what you get at home. And our crowd's been electric. It's been outstanding, and I think we've had some games where they had quite a show. I think our fans have given it back to us in terms of energy, but I think the players have really demonstrated so many great things that the fans are recognizing that. And it's not just resiliency, but lots of goals. Before last game, we were averaging 3 goals a game offensively, and we had some 5-goal games and 4-goal games here, and the players have played really hard in front of them. And so I think it's great for both the fans and the players.